track, we're not. This is what is happening. Because remember, when you're dealing with assets, the valuations that you place on an asset are always behind you. It's always in hindsight. It's never in front of you. And that's one of the challenges, right? Because you're always valuing what happened yesterday, and what you need is what's going to happen tomorrow. So that's a struggle. Yeah. So there are strategies everywhere from £50 a week up to £100 million, and they're different. Right? They range differently from everyone, but and from country to country, to be fair. Different countries have different tax laws, so different vehicles. But from your point of view, at the sort of normal end, I'm not going to call it the low end because I'm in that boat as well. It's as tax efficient as you can get it. That's where you start. You use all the tax efficiencies, and then you step up into different things.
Welcome back to the show. It is in fact the final few minutes of the sunrise with your girl Sarah right here on Relaks Radio. Now don't be worried or don't be disheartened, because obviously I will be here again tomorrow, same time, same place, same frequency, to share my thoughts and opinions with me. But until then, during this last few minutes, you can actually get in touch with me and share your thoughts and opinions with me as well. All right, all you need to do is just text me on 078 524 73473. Share your thoughts, share your opinions, because that will be absolutely amazing as well. All right, so don't actually forget to be a part of the show and let me know what you're thinking and let me know what you're feeling about this as well. Okay, now before we actually head into the conversation, I want to very quickly remind you that you can in fact go follow us on our socials. You can text us on, or you can text us on 078 524 73473. That's one way to get in touch with us. And the other way to actually get in touch with us is by, liking us on Facebook and following us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. All right. And don't forget to actually go subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. That way you can always watch our live videos and be informed about what we talk about. And something else that you can do as well is download our app, which is available on both the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. All right. And I'm telling you, if you don't download the app, you're going to miss out on so much of positivity and entertainment as well. So don't forget to do that. All right. And now let's actually head into our conversation. But before we talk about long COVID and the struggles of the Windrush generation, we have to very quickly talk about the rise in working from home, right? Why is there such a huge rise in working from home? All right. So for us to have this discussion, I want to very quickly talk about how our lives changed when or rather during the pandemic, right? Because when COVID initially struck, and then we had to essentially change our lives so much that we had to basically start working from home, things were very, very different for us, right? Things were very, very different for us, right? And what we had to do was essentially we had to sort of blur the line between our personal lives and our work lives to essentially accommodate our ability to work from home, right? And that is why this whole question is there right now. Now, the reason I want to actually have this conversation is because recent research has actually found that during the past few months that there has been an increase in terms of advertisements that were placed on different websites that basically catered for people or rather catered for people who are looking for jobs. There was so much of a rise, because before the pandemic there was in fact 1% of ads that actually targeted working from home, whereas right now there's 5% of ads that basically advertise the fact that this job is based on working from home, so if you're interested, please apply. And there's also been an increase in the amount of people that want to work from home as well. So that is the good news with regard to, working from home and getting past all of that. However, right now we're going to head into a small break, and after that we will be back to keep talking about this. So until then, make sure that you stay tuned. Welcome back to the show. It's your girl Sarah right here on Relax Radio. And I'm super, super excited to be here to share my thoughts and opinions with you as well. And now let's very quickly head into our conversation. However, if you have any thoughts, if you have any opinions that you want to share with us, don't be shy. You can actually be a part of the show. All you need to do is just text me or call me on 078 All right. And now let's very quickly talk about long COVID. Now, long COVID is such a big problem because not a lot of people are aware about the symptoms of long COVID and how it can actually differ from person to person, right? And the reason that this is such a huge problem actually is because a lot of people tend to think that long COVID is only there for people who are older, which is not really true because there are so many people who are much younger that have and are suffering from long COVID as well. Now, about 100,000 there's an estimated 100,000 British children or younger adults below the age of 25 that are suffering from long COVID, and their symptoms are actually, something. It's it's a huge spectrum, right? And there are so many different symptoms that so many different children are suffering from, and that's why it's important for us to have this conversation and attempt to understand what exactly what exactly long COVID is and how it affects not just adults but in fact children as well, right? Now, I spoke about Nia, who happens to be this young girl who actually is in university. And basically, what happened was during Freshers Week, she caught COVID, and she was someone who's like really fit and healthy, right? She used to take part in competitive swimming. She would always go to the gym, and essentially, what happened was after COVID, she started getting really tired, right? She couldn't really focus on her swimming or going back to the gym because even after waking up from sleeping, she would be so exhausted. She would feel this form of tiredness in her body, right? And that's just a one symptom of long COVID. Now, there is, in fact, like I said, a spectrum of symptoms, but the most common symptoms are, feeling tired, feeling fatigued, having a lot of headaches, having common headaches, and even the loss of taste and smell, and feeling very lethargic, feeling like you can't do anything, right? So that is what we're talking about as well, because long COVID is important. It's important to keep that in mind and make sure that we take the necessary steps to understand and sympathize and even help people that have been diagnosed with long COVID, because right now there isn't enough research to actually take any decisions or make any decisions with regard to long COVID. All right, so that's why it's important to keep that in mind. And then we also spoke about the deportation scandal, basically the Windrush scandal. So to put it simply, the Windrush generation is actually the generation of people who arrived to the United Kingdom from the Commonwealth countries, from the Caribbean islands in the time period 1948 to 1971. And essentially, because they were British colonies at that point of time, what actually happened was these people couldn't actually, or rather, they weren't actually given any form of identification or even paperwork because these people were a part of the British colony, right? And at that point, because they weren't considered independent, they were considered a part of the British Empire, all right? So then what basically happened was they didn't really have any paperwork that identified them. However, in 2018, they were actually, the UK government actually addressed the claims that they were trying to deport Jamaicans who were living in the United Kingdom, who had actually basically been living, and they had even been raised in the United Kingdom, and they were trying to deport them back to Jamaica, right? And this was a huge problem, and they actually offered to have compensation schemes and other mechanisms in place to deal with these problems. However, what happened was something completely different, because they actually went back on their word, and these victims weren't even compensated enough, and right now they face the risk of being deported again. All right, so that is what the conversation for today was about. Now it's time for me to actually head out of here, but don't worry, because I will be here tomorrow again, same time, same frequency, same place, to continue this conversation with you. So until then, I actually hope you have an amazing day and you enjoy your day. So here's me saying bye and hoping that you enjoy your